Oh,
Okay, we're good to go. So welcome back to our show. Me and Sir Levi promised you the juicy stuff, and we're about to deliver the juicy stuff. Yeah, so please, my good friend, take a lead. What are we going to discuss? What are we disgusted to discuss today?
well, as you and I have talked, I think as we were starting this journey of having these conversations, the topic of minimalism was in our news feeds on social media, with training, and I think that kind of sparked us both. We had both on the same day addressed that topic on our Instagrams, unknowing that each other was doing that, and I thought that it was kind of funny, and we had discussed that after we introduced ourselves that maybe that was the direction we go, is when it talks about being the contents of social media and what draws people in, and so I think this will be a good first episode that isn't about maybe our personal
Not
journey.
about us. It's true.
Yeah, it's not about us. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So do you want to
synchronicity
start
was
us off?
amazing.
Do you want to start us off with the idea of minimalism or essentialism, or however you want to start, and I'll piggyback
Yeah,
on.
you know what? Let's take, yeah. So the thing is about like minimalism and essentialism is now a hype with the minimalists movement, which is a good movement. But again, since we live in the age of abuse, where like every good idea is taken to extreme and abused so badly until nothing from the original idea is left.
Sure.
People like, it's really easy. It's really easy, especially if you're late to join the movement and you don't know where the movement started from, to get lost and think that minimalism is like living in an empty house, all right, like completely like empty house, like, or living like a bum, selling everything, getting divorced and like go and live in some hut in whatever Himalayan mountain, or doing just a single exercise, because it's minimalism. And the concept is a bit broader than this, because them both minimalism and essentialism, which are pretty much this, like almost the same, you can say, talk about cutting. Basically, it's about being aware and knowing what you want and cutting all the noise around it. Okay, so like the best example that I always give, like runners need to do deadlifts because they need strong glutes and they need strong back. And if you want to run, you need strong back. But it very easily can become deadlifting for deadlift's sake, and suddenly you're chasing 2 times by your body weight deadlift, but like, wait a minute, you wanted to run. It is not in correlation. So like you lost the complete minimalism, because minimalism, like you're doing some pull-ups, you're doing some deadlifts, that's it, like maybe something else, and you run, okay, like lunges, whatever. But it's not like this one thing or getting lost. So essentialism is what is essential for me in my current state. And current state, and this is where you will take off now, is what often people don't want to confront. Because I want to think about my current state as in my current state within 10 years from now, where I'm in my peak physique, where I'm in my everything. And then, yes, like then I can allow myself to do just one set of heavy Turkish get-ups and call it a day, all right? Because I have this West baseline behind me and this experience. But in my current state that I'm not willing to confront and to admit, because it's not pleasant, it's hard, it's dirty, it's very easy for me, to shortcut. And this is the same thing where people fall in the trap, where they're reading the hobbies of a millionaires, of a successful people. Like, man, you are struggling to make your ends meet, right? You don't need to read about meditation. You don't need to about this minimalism. Like your current state is not a state of like millionaires. So there is no point for you to copying what they do because they have done the work that is in front of you, and in their current state that can say, yeah, I meditate for 20 minutes, then I read a book, and then I journal. Like, yeah, bitch, like I have 3 kids, 2 laundries to make in 5 a.m. in the morning. I need to write my, social blog post, and I need to do it within 60 minutes frame before my little girl wakes up. So don't talk to me about meditation. And you know what? I do it. But I am able to meditate within 1 minute because I taught myself how to. So now this is the essentialism and the minimalism in a nutshell. And please do continue from here.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if you look at the individual that is, I don't want to say desperate, but desperate could be the word to describe them. You've got bad news at the doctor, or you look in the mirror and you understand that you don't know where the last 10 years went, and obviously, it took a lot of time to go from where you were to where you are. But we don't want to admit that maybe our lifestyle is as bad as it is, or we need to make the changes as drastic as they need to be. And we come across, whether it's social media or a Google search, and we find that there's this incredible tool that you only need one kettlebell and you only need to do 1 or 2 movements and you're going to transform your life. And it sounds too good to be true, but the person selling it looks awesome and is doing really basic movements, and we get hooked. And I really think that, like you had said, that person maybe selling that could be on a minimal program at the moment, but the work they did to get to where they are is significant, and it wasn't minimal, and it wasn't easy, and it was a lot of sacrifice. There was probably some bleeding involved, and cutting out their favorite foods or alcohol, and that journey is, the big problem with minimalism for me is the marketing behind minimalism. It's not, the marketing is shady.
Absolutely.
As much as I love the kettlebell, and is I will sing its praises as a tool, a training tool, until the good Lord calls me home. But and it's my primary tool, and often my only tool. But there's nothing minimal about what I'm trying to do, or I, in my mind, a minimal program or a minimal effort will get you minimal results or no results. And obviously, if depending on where the person starts, if you're completely sedentary, then yes, walking, swings, staying hydrated, or not even swings, maybe it's just kettlebell deadlifts, maybe it's something really, really basic. But at some point in time, you're going to have to progress. And only the people, like you had mentioned, only the people that have walked that path and have been on that journey and understand what they've done to get to where they are can truly do a minimal program and coast and still look like they look or feel like they feel. But until they get to that point, we've got a lot of work to do between point A and point B.
Yeah, exactly. So, the minimal program, as you said, and actually, let's talk about you for a second, because you went the journey, and just to remind the listeners, you've working out almost every day, and before we've met and you began to practice kettlebell sport, you did a bunch of serious lifting, and you've ran what, 1/2 marathon or something on 10 or 10K. So what is the amount of overall time that you're training for people to understand what minimalism is all about? Because you are too minimalistic in a sense.
Yeah. So, I've run 3 half marathons, a Tough Mudder, a 10K. And that was just because,
Yes,
that was
please
just,
continue. Yeah.
yeah, no, that was just
Perspectives.
because I need at competition, and that was before kettlebell sport. And it always helped me to have something to train towards or train for. And that didn't mean, and I will readily admit that I'm not a runner, and I wasn't training smart to be, it was one of those things. I want to be in good enough shape to compete and not just survive, and that was kind of only what the goal was just to push myself in ways that I'm not familiar or necessarily enjoy, but to stick to a program and to achieve a goal. And so that was kind of just the premise behind the training. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at, depending now, the long runs when I was training for a half marathon, long runs for me, those are an hour and a half training runs, simply because it takes me 2 hours to run a half marathon, or close to. I did them all under 2 hours, but I mean, close enough to 2 hours. But anyway, point being is that the longer workouts when doing that kind of thing would take, but when I prepare in my, like right now, currently, 30 to 40 minutes is what I'm going. And that's not because I feel like I need to go that, or I physically have to go that long. It's just because I enjoy exercise, and I want to push myself. At no point in time do I want to feel like I'm leaving anything on the table. Now, obviously there are times where I have to intentionally scale back what I'm doing, just because I have to, like, if you're programming for me and I know I've got a tough session, like I've got a tough session today, like yesterday's workout was a half an hour, and it was more body weight than it was anything. I didn't do any kettlebells that I cleaned or snatched, or it was just basically planks and burpees and some renegade rows. And so, and I was done in a half an hour. Sometimes I won't even go that long, depending on, again, what I'm doing. But to keep the main thing is I know that you've got something prepared for me that's going to take all my energy and focus today. And so today is so I can't do something yesterday that's going to take away from today. Tomorrow I can't do something on my unscheduled day that's going to take away from Friday, because Friday is going to get me closer to my goal. Thursday is not. Thursday is for me to check the box, because I need to move. I feel better when I do move, and that helps me mentally, and it keeps me from a place that, from a stress management and a mental health standpoint, where I don't stab someone when they come into my gym and irritate me. So that's just my own way to self-medicate. But anyway, the point being was that, yes, there's a lot of days where I can just coast right now because of the work that I put in over the years. And coasting allows me to move, allows me to sweat, and allows me to prepare for the next actual training day.
Exactly. So you see, your minimalist workouts, like, you can do just swings, but people don't see everything that you've done, and people don't know the program that you're currently at what expects you the day after. And yeah, it's easy, to say, just do swings. And like the minimalistic approach, let me share my 2 cents about an evolution of an athlete. Like, if you begin to practice, and kettlebell sport beside for a second, I'm a huge advocate of barbell lifts. And again, the essential barbell lifts. All right, no sexy, funky Zercher squats, sissy squats and stuff, just the plain, or Hatfield squat if you have shitty posture, or the back squat, some trap bar deadlift. Okay, we have you don't need a bench, basically. Functional wise, you can do weighted dips and weighted pull-ups. You have 4 exercises already, and this is as minimalistic as it gets. Squat, trap bar deadlift, weighted dips, weighted pull-ups. All right, then for the general mobility, we can throw Turkish get-up, because it is a great overall exercise to sustain you movable and healthy in a functional way, to age gracefully and be functionally movable and able at your 70s, because getting yourself from a dead spot in half kneeling position, very few, even people now our age, can do. Okay, you ask a person to go for a lunge, but full lunge, and gently place the knee and then stand up without completely going off shape, and most of them can do it. So in that case, like, Turkish get-ups, and I'm a great fond of Turkish get-ups, are due. So we have already 5 exercises. Then you can throw, like, swings or snatches, whatever, to the mix, and we have 6 and 7, and we haven't talked about aerobic conditioning. So we already, and this is the minimalistic. So you see, the minimalistic is very essential because, like, minimalism is supposed to answer a very simple question, which many people, I believe, afraid of, and many coaches will feel embarrassed if their student will ask them, is the question, why am I doing this particular exercise? Like, why this exercise in my program? And you as a coach must justify saying, like, it's here because we're going, there, all right? Otherwise, like, why do curls? Why do I need to do lateral raise, which is an amazing exercise? But okay, give me a good reason enough, like what it contains, what it's going to sustain, what's in the future, as you said, because it's an endless chain. And today's workout is irrelevant if it does not build something in the future or continuing something from the past. All right, so here you have this. So this is minimalism and essentialism in a nutshell. What do you want to achieve? Okay, who are you? What's your current state? And from there, yes, and your minimal program will be that big. And then you said, after years, you can allow yourself to come in a gym and, as you said, do burpees and planks and call it a day. All right, but you need to put a disclaimer that this program suits for people with 10 years experience, like 80,000 reps or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So now it's fair enough to say that, yeah, this is a great workout.
Yeah, and that's just part of being transparent and honest with who your target audience is. And if your target audience is the person that needs that's sedentary, and you're marketing towards that person, and you're using emotional buzzwords to get their attention, it's just dishonest to say that this is all you have to do to achieve everything that you could ever want. And would a minimalist program of 2 or 3 exercises to a sedentary person improve their current state? Yeah, absolutely. Nearly anything will improve where they're currently at. But is it going to deliver the promises you're making? Are kettlebell swings going to torch body fat? Well, not if you don't change your diet. They're not going to torch anything. You'll get stronger posterior. Yeah, you'll get a stronger posterior, and your grip will improve, and those are great things, and they shouldn't be minimized as quality progression. But at the same time, like, let's just be honest, and that's the state of our industry right now, is sales and who we can take advantage of as a whole. There's and it's tough for the individual to wade through everything that's out there. And it's tough, when one person says, one thing, and that person looks great, and another person says another thing, and that person looks great, and then somebody could be telling you the absolute truth, and they might not have the physique that you want, and it doesn't always one plus one doesn't always equal 2, unfortunately, in what we're doing. And I hope that analogy lands correctly with our audience.
Absolutely. Like actually, one of the best practices that I may suggest, and this is what I love to do. I love to dig in the past of the coaches, because there is a guy, like, I follow very few, but I follow guys like who really I respect, and I have respect for the job. And one of them is a mover. Okay, like, he moves, and he's like, you have very aesthetic movement. And I always like search for a website for the, you know, some Google. Professional curiosity wise, and then it's almost always I've been doing martial arts since I was 4. I was dancing since I was 8, and now I'm about my 30. So please, all right, not like, to me what you do is amazing, but what you do now began when you were at the age of 8, at 4, sorry. And when you see some guy, you know, doing whatever, you know, barbells and saying this as an exercise, you check his background. Because if he was like, you know, fat, huge, slob with cholesterol, and in half a year he made this transformation without drugs, like, okay, this is interesting enough for me to hear, because maybe he found something that everybody missed. But if he's been lifting from the age of 16 and he was like national powerlifting champion, it's, you know, it's like I can, you know, I can basically now do everything. Yeah, I can go into the room, I can load barbell with already 200 kilos because I can deadlift 400, and I can do it. And I can say, like, you know, you need to skip warm-ups, right? Like, you know, if you want to deadlift, just, you know, load the plates and do. Yeah, for you, it's true. Okay, but for anybody else, it will be a killer. And like, two things, people, and true story here, we love shortcuts, and we love to override the truth that in our face, because we don't want to confront it, because it makes us feel very uncomfortable. But again, this is the honesty that we must begin. Otherwise, you cannot build city upon cemeteries. So a true story, my son comes to me and says, Dad, I want to try Monster, the energy drink. And I say, what? Like, if I had 2 sons, you'd be dead now for asking this question, okay? Like, why do you want to drink Monster? Oh, because Rock drinks his energy drinks and everything. And we went into discussion about The Rock, who's amazing and is a very hard-working man. And what he did, he built with his 2 hands. But my son was very surprised to know that The Rock's physiques is not only The Rock physiques, which is, again, absolutely fine, and it's fair, and like, what, like, you know, free world, and you can do with everything. And this is what we tend to forget when we, you know what, as a social entities often do. Because I can throw something, you know, very honestly, and I have no idea what impact just my sentence was. Because what my son saw is a Monster drink. Like, okay, he trains, he drinks Monster. Now, in my gym where I coach with the Arnold epic picture, I see a lot of teenagers coming with Monster drinks. They have these powerlifting belts and these outfits, and they bring amount of sweets even bigger than an average birthday party of a kindergarten kid, and eat that shit, they drink that shit, they do everything but lifting. And when they do lifting, the numbers are pretty humble and the technique is horrible. And this is exactly where this, you know, responsibility, because when, you know, The Rock, you know, puts another post with another contact, millionaire contact, like multi-millionaire contact sealed again for the movie and franchise with his Terramana tequila brand, like, I understand that the man did his work and his homework, and he's been hustling on his own for years, and he earned everything but by blood, sweat, and you know, tears and respect. But another guy will make this cognitive shortcut saying, ooh, he drinks tequila. If I'll drink tequila, I'll become rich and famous and I'll close deals. No, you son of a bitch, you will become an alcoholic, you stupid. Okay, like, it doesn't work like this. And this is where we again coming to the same notions when you see posts of like, all you need to do is just swings or get-ups or, you know, any other minimalistic, like, you know, squats and pull-ups. I love this. It's an amazing thing. But again, to somebody, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but I can afford myself to do only squats and pull-ups now. And again, for a very short period of time, because my body and my age will catch up with me, and it will hit me on the head saying, hey, dumb, okay, start doing another things if you don't want to begin to get some inflammations, because you're doing only 2 sagittal movements and nothing else. All right, and this is like the truth, that like the whole truth. And I don't know, like, to me it's professional ethics and responsibility of saying, like, hey guys, I'm posting this and this is an amazing thing, but okay, the disclaimer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's fair and square.
Yeah, no, it's amazing that kind of marketing still works. I understand kids falling for it, just from a lack of life experience, but it's not just kids. I said earlier that when we're desperate, we'll look for anything and we'll believe anything. And hopefully it's easy. The easier it is, the more likely we're going to jump on. But the reality is as the amount of time you spend in a gym, I own a gym, easy might hook people and get them started. But when easy doesn't provide the results that they were promised, people quit and they don't, or they'll look for something different. Whether it's program hopping or just stopping altogether, it's not a long-term solution. You might get a sale, or sell your book or sell your program or sell a membership, but is it short-term gratification that we're after, or are we after results long-term? And like we keep discussing or saying, that once you get to that point where you can enjoy a minimalist program and maintain what you've earned, but you have to get to that point. Talking about someone like someone like The Rock, you can't ignore his work ethic. You can't ignore his drive and his determination, but you also can't ignore everything else he's not talking about. That's fine. Like you said, like it's not for me to judge what he's using to get to where he is. It's just look at the whole picture and understand the whole picture, and don't compare yourself to the whole picture. Just compare yourself, be inspired, be motivated, but also understand that unless you're willing to do what he's doing for the time that he's done it, don't expect the same results, and that's not even considering everything else that goes, into it, So anyway, kind of rambling a little bit, but I think we've kind of just scratched the surface of this topic. And it'll probably be something that in future conversations that we come back to, because doesn't matter how often. I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but I think you and I are both individuals that would rather be open and honest about our process and why we are who we are, or how we got to where we got. If someone looks up to us and compliments us, performance wise or physique wise, or hopefully, ideally, relationship with our children. Like, that's what I would love someone to look at my relationship with my daughter and say, man, you did it right. And I would love to have that relationship with my child. That would be the ultimate compliment.
Absolutely.
Because that's why we do what we do ultimately. Of course, all this other stuff helps pays our bills and provides for our families. But, it's ultimately about that relationship with our wives and our children and things like that. So that's the ultimate goal, of course, but there's a lot of work that goes into that as well, obviously. But
yeah, exactly. Like, to again, we will be back to that topic, but to summarize is to quote again the Arnold Schwarzenegger, which for me is one of the like amazing people who knew how to walks through everything very gracefully and very beautifully. And now that he's aging very well, like a fine wine, all right, and you see him, and he said, and he always said, like, don't copy me, don't follow me, like, get inspired by me, like, look at my life choices, but don't do these 3 hours work sessions because they were right for me. This was my minimalism. Like, the Arnold minimalism was to do like this 200 freaking calf raises to be where I am. This is my minimalism. This is the minimum what I needed to do to get where I wanted to get. All right, but please don't do it, but be inspired for my choices, okay, how I've managed things, my discipline, etc. And to end this, the first like glass of juice, I believe that people, I may suggest a very beautiful question. We will talk about, like, we're always coming back to this have a coach thing, and it's not because we're pushing to have a coach, but because both of us know how valuable it is and how much time and money it saves. We cannot even count. And you know what? Screw the money. Money you can earn. We are now misled to think that we are gods.
Yes.
That we are gods with infinite time. We don't have it. So you have very little time to play with yourself and try it for yourself, because before you understand that, hey, all right, there is somebody who can really shortcut, and really put you on a minimalistic program, all right, and get you where you want to be, because you don't have a time, stupid. And with age, you don't get better. Sorry, this is the sad reality. Either do I, and you can feel it, I can feel it, we don't recover that well. And that's why coach is so valuable, especially now, all right, because he saves us a huge ton of time. So for people who listen to us, I want to finish with this sentence. Whatever you look in the Instagram, in whatever you see the minimalist, you approach a coach that you respect and ask this question. Coach, I've seen the dude doing just swings and get-ups for his program. What do I need to do to get to that level so I will be able to do it and call it a day? And this is a very beautiful, minimalistic and question to impose upon, like, yourself or somebody who you trust to lead you.
That's a great way to finish this conversation. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, people, I hope you enjoy our juice. Wow, it sounds bad. It's like OnlyFans, but never mind. All right.
Yeah. We'll fix that.
We're not going to edit it. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. And we will be back to talk about some juicy stuff next week. Thank you and have a beautiful day, you beautiful people.